Yo, what is going on, guys? Flashverse here, and welcome back to another video on The Flash. And this will pretty much be a new series on the channel, which I'll be doing, where essentially I will be picking some unanswered question in regards to The Flash. It doesn't matter whichever season it is. It could be from season 1, it could be from season 3, but I'll just be picking up some unanswered questions and I'll pretty much be making theory videos about them. So if you guys remember, a while back I did make a video about Godspeed using the cosmic treadmill, so it's basically those types of stuff. So like I will be planning on doing like how Reverse Flash got his powers explained, basically things like that. If you guys have any other suggestions, be sure to tell me in the comment section down below. But for this video I will be theorizing about who trained the original timeline Flash. But firstly guys, I do want to apologize for the lack of videos. I've been very busy lately. My summer break ended and then my school started again, and I am on my final year of school, so yeah, I've been really busy with schoolwork, so I apologize for the lack of uploads. But before I go over anything, however, you guys don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. Okay, so there's no denying that the original Timeline Flash is probably the most mysterious character we have on the show, and that's just simply due to how little we know of him apart from a few things. We do obviously know that he is still Barry Allen. However, in the original timeline, Barry Allen becomes the Flash in the year of 2020 through an accidental particle accelerator explosion created by the original timeline Harrison Wells. We do also know that Tess Morgan was with the original timeline Harrison Wells when the particle accelerator exploded. The original timeline Flash also vanishes in Crisis 4 years after, during the year 2024, and obviously his mother Nora Allen is still alive. Reverse Flash does not kill her yet, because that's what changes the timeline and erases the original timeline Flash, and we end up with the Barry Allen we've seen on the show. But lots of people want to see this character return, and trust me guys, I do too. But yeah, our version of Barry Allen is a lot different. Our Barry becomes the Flash in the year of 2014 through a particle accelerator explosion done on purpose by Eobard Thawne, who was disguised as Harrison Wells for 15 years after the murder of Nora Allen, since he was stranded there and couldn't go back home. So the key for him to return home was the Flash's speed. So he had to create him a couple of years earlier than he was originally supposed to be created. But one thing we know about our version of Barry is that he had his own team. He worked alongside Wells Abard, Caitlin Snow, and Cisco Ramon, and as the seasons progressed, we ended up getting more characters in Team Flash, but those were the core Team Flash members in Star Labs when Barry first started, and essentially they were the ones who trained him to get faster and become a hero, become known to Central City as the Flash. But this is something we do not know about the original timeline Flash. Who actually trained him? So the first theory you could actually go for is that the original timeline Wells is the one who trained him. We do know that everything Wells Abard did a couple of years earlier in 2014 still kind of played out similarly in regards to how certain things played out, or I would think so, that's how things played out. So perhaps after Barry Allen got struck by lightning in the year of 2019, maybe the original Harrison Wells picks him up from the hospital and he is the one who offered Joe to take him to Star Labs, where this version of Wells knows that he is able to help him. That could still have potentially been the same for all we know. After all, as Wells Abard pointed out in our timeline, the doctors had no idea in regards to what was happening with Barry's condition. They thought he was pretty much dying, but instead his heart was just beating so fast that the machines just couldn't recognize or register his heartbeats. And yes, it's still possible that this version of Wells may not have known about Barry's condition either, since none of these metahuman things would have been around in Central City, whereas Wells Abard would have known about it since he is from the future after all, so he does know that metahumans do exist. Therefore, it would be highly unlikely that Wells would have known what was happening to Barry at first, but maybe he knew that he would still be able to help Barry. Maybe he felt guilty that this particle accelerator accidentally exploded, because on the show, Eobard blew it up on purpose because it was part of his plan. But maybe this version of Wells couldn't live with the guilt due to what he has done and what Central City has become, and maybe that was his reasoning into bringing in Barry into Star Labs. Now, whether he had his own version of Team Flash is still unknown after he wakes up from his coma during the year 2020. He could have had an older version of Caitlin Snow and an older version of Cisco Ramon helping him. After all, Eobard Thawne was from the future. He knew exactly what to do and how to get his plan to work, as he was planning this for 15 years when he got stuck in the past during the year 2000 after Nora Allen's murder. So what if in the show's timeline, the one we saw, what if Wells actually employed the exact same people on purpose just a couple of years earlier? So maybe in the original timeline, future Barry still had Caitlin and Cisco, but the only difference would be that the original Harrison Wells would be the Wells of the team in the original timeline. I do actually think that's a pretty interesting theory, but do let me know what you think about it, because I am interested to know if Eobard actually picked those Star Labs employees just because they all had a significance in the future. That would actually be pretty interesting. I didn't even think about that before. But yeah, the things you can theorize about when you overthink about stuff way too much. Now, if the original timeline Flash did not have Star Labs to train him, perhaps he probably trained himself. That could also be a possibility. So after he wakes up from his coma and realizes that he has powers, he begins to train himself since he doesn't trust anyone with his identity. Maybe he still tells Joe. Maybe Joe finds out when he's fighting Weather Wizard, the first Weather Wizard during the pilot, but maybe it plays out different in the original timeline. But what if for a couple of weeks, Barry's training himself, and maybe it wasn't going too well, and he wasn't getting faster, and then that's what leads him into building Gideon. And then afterwards, Barry goes out into the field alongside Gideon, and she pretty much helps Barry with his superhero business as the Flash. Obviously, Gideon is also incredibly smart. She can easily not only come up with formulas which makes Barry faster, but could also help Barry defeat villains more quickly and more efficiently. She could find like 100 different ways to defeat one villain. And while she does that, she could also point out which method is the most likely one so that Barry could prevail against this villain. That's how smart Gideon is. There's no messing around when you have Gideon by your side. Personally for me, I like the first theory a lot more. Ever since I started doing my notes for this video, and then as I started to elaborate my points during this video, I started to become so interested to find out if Eobard actually employed Caitlin and Cisco on purpose, like not just because they are actually talented, because they are still genuinely talented, but maybe they actually helped Barry in the future, which is why he employed them a couple of years earlier as well. I am so interested about that, because they are obviously the ones who helped Barry in the original timeline, or our version of the timeline. So they're the ones who helped train Barry with Welzabard in the show's timeline. Wow, this is actually stuck in my head right now. I'm gonna be thinking about this all day now. I cannot get this out of my head. But I do still see the second theory working as well, because when you have a thing like Gideon by your side, there's really no need for Team Flash, because Gideon can literally outsmart them in milliseconds. And she can literally predict multiple different outcomes. It can run multiple different algorithms and find different ways to take down a villain. So if Gideon is by Barry's side, he's unstoppable. Team Flash is pretty useless if Barry has Gideon with him. So we do need to take that into account as well. But do let me know what you guys think about who could have ended up training the original timeline Flash. Do you guys have any other characters who could have potentially ended up training Barry in the original timeline? I'm interested to see all of your opinions towards all of this as well. And guess what, guys? Grant Gustin has officially arrived on set for The Flash Season 8, and we did get some really sick set photos out there with The Flash, and then we did get our first look of Despero as well. We did also have Ray Palmer being there on set. We have all that crazy stuff to go over for a video which will come later this week. I cannot guarantee it will be out tomorrow. I will try to get out tomorrow, but as I said, I'm really busy, so I'm not going to promise anything. But I'm going to try my best to get out tomorrow, because those set photos are just really sick, and we just need to talk about them. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Be sure to tell me in the comment section down below who you guys think trained the original timeline Flash. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.